What if I told you that not reading and writing can actually get you fluent faster? I know this might sound backwards, but just hear me out. We all love facts, so here is a fact that will blow your mind. Dr. Stephen Krashen's research on second language acquisition found that children who arrive in a new country speaking zero English become conversational in 6 to 12 months without ever opening a textbook. Meanwhile, adults in traditional classroom settings can spend years in that sort of environment and never get fluent even though they've been drilling reading and writing exercises for a long time. So what's the difference? Well, other than the fact that obviously one's a child and one's an adult, which let's save that for a different discussion, the kids are forced to focus purely on listening and speaking for their survival. So here's a problem that I would estimate 99% of language learners face. They're taught that reading and writing is essential from day one. Schools drill it into us, language apps push it on us. But what if this reading and writing based approach is actually sabotaging our attempts at being able to speak and understand the spoken language? Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When is the last time you had a conversation by handwriting notes back and forth? Never, right? So why are you spending precious study time on skills that don't actually help you communicate in the ways that you normally communicate? This isn't just inefficient, it's actually slowing you down. Just like so many traditional methods with so many things, you're effectively practicing for a test, not for real life. You know all those times you asked your high school teacher, teacher, when am I gonna use this in real life? Yeah. This is one of those times. Let me tell you something that might completely change your perspective. Your brain didn't actually evolve to read and write. Think about it. Humans have been speaking for roughly 300,000 years, but writing has only existed for maybe about 6,000. Reading and writing are essentially brand new skills that we've taken and grafted on to our pre-existing language processing machine. But here is what's really fascinating about this evolutionary mismatch. Children around the world, regardless of their language or culture, roughly follow the same sort of process. They understand speech, then they speak, then much later, they learn how to read and write. We are literally fighting against millions of years of brain evolution when we try to do all these skills simultaneously. So here's the solution that might transform your language learning. If your goal is conversational fluency, like mine is, I encourage you to completely abandon both reading and writing in the early stages of your language learning. Focus exclusively on your listening and on your speaking until you get to a level of conversational fluency that you're good to add in reading and writing. Now, a quick point here, I'm not saying that reading and writing don't have any benefit or any carryover to speaking and listening. I'm just saying that you may as well spend your time optimizing towards the things that you actually want to do in the end. You've heard the old saying, practice like you want to play. Okay, so now you might be a little bit confused, but let me prove that this works with a little experiment. Imagine that you're dropped into Tokyo with no preparation. What is going to serve you better? The ability to read restaurant menus or the ability to ask the chef about the menu items and actually understand the response? Now, to be fair, if your answer is the former, then that's totally fine. Maybe reading and writing is your goal. But if your answer is the latter, which at least most people that watch my channel is, then it's pretty obvious which one to go with. Obviously, it's speaking and listening. And here's the kicker. If you can't read the menu, you can just simply point and say, "What's this?" in Japanese. But if you can't understand the response, then you're kind of stuck. So here's a simple breakdown of exactly how to implement what we spoke about today. Phase 1 might be 1 to 6 months of just pure input. Spend your time exclusively on comprehensible input. Ideally, content that is slightly above your current level that you can understand mostly through context. No textbooks, no writing exercises, just immersion. Phase 2, we can begin to add in output. This might be around the 6 to 12 month mark. Start speaking regularly while continuing massive input. Find conversation partners, talk to yourself, shadow native speakers. Still no reading and writing. Now, phase 3, which is maybe after month 12, is where you're going to integrate reading if you want. Once you're conversational, adding in reading becomes incredibly easy because you're basically just matching visual symbols to sounds that you already know the meaning of. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Spencer, what if I want to read novels in my target language? Look, if reading literature is your specific goal, then obviously you need to practice reading. But for most people that I come across anyway, end goal is to actually communicate with human beings, not necessarily to read or to pass some sort of exam. And like I said before, yes, reading can help with the acquisition of vocabulary and understanding grammar patterns. But here's the thing, so can listening. And listening is directly transferable to real conversations. But reading skills? not so much. Now, when I applied this approach to my Mandarin learning journey, the results were astounding. I committed to several hours a day of pure input daily. No reading, no writing, just commitment to comprehensible input. Oh, and I also did some Anki cards to supplement my learning. Within 6 months, I surprised my now fiance by having a total conversation with her in only Mandarin. Compare that to my Japanese journey, where I wasted months on reading and writing exercises that got me no results. So here is my small challenge to you. If it aligns with your goals, completely eliminate both reading and writing from your language learning practice. I want you to focus only on listening and speaking. If you can, track your progress and see how much faster you advance towards your goals. Now, if you're ready to stop floundering around and take your language learning journey seriously, then you can take a look at the link in the description, and that's where I'll be able to help you out personally. Now look, if you're like me and you have commitment issues towards traditional language learning methods, then you can start by practicing that skill and commit to watch this video right here, because YouTube picked it out just for you because it thinks it'll really help you out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.